Let's get some of that coffee. Well, let's get some of that good stuff to read. Alright, there we go. Oh, there we go. Alright. One sec. This on and move this here. One moment. Come on. Get the laptop, man. Working like a garbage. Alright, there we go. There we go. Alright. Alright, hey Brenna, hello. Let's go. Let's get some coffee and get some reading to do. Get some of that quality reading to do. Hey Steve, hello. How we doing, man? How's the life? How's the life? Alright, what some water first. Get him. Alright, alright. Happy New Year, Steve. How are you, man? How was your New Year's? I got some Giga Gaming going. What was the plan? What was there? What was there? There we go. Now, whoop. Yes, you see what it's saying. The quality sleep sounds good, eh? Sounds good, eh? That sounds like a lot of sleep, eh? That's good, eh? That is always nice to get all the sleep. Starting the new year with a lot of sleep. That sounds like a good way to do it. Hey, Kagikado. How we doing, man? We gone, Wizard? Happy New Year's to you too, man. How are you doing? We in 2023. Finally, the shit year is over. Clearly, this one will be better. Surely this one will be good, eh? You doing good, eh? Doing pretty good, and it's sleepy, but that's whatever. 2020 number 3, yeah, seems like it. I mean, technically it's gonna be already number 4, because we went through the whole entirety of 2020, 2021, and 2022. So this is already gonna be a 4th one then. But yeah, probably gonna be. Probably. I can't have enough of that copium and hopium to make me think it won't. Can't handle it. It's too much. Feels good, feels good. Indeed. Immortal, hello. How you doing? Happy New Year to you too, man. Got 2020 new game +4 now. Well, I guess new game +3, yeah, because that was the first playthrough. Now we are through new games. Shit indeed be getting harder though. But still not at the level cap at least, so you know, can compensate for the difficulty. A little bit. A little bit. There you go, green, hello. How we doing? Alright, whoop. I'll bit the chicory. Because I can, and because I need to finish that bag since it's already opened anyway. Might as well. Mix it in there. There we go. Dragon's Dogma 2, there is actually update on that. We'll check today. Well, update. Very minimal update, you know. Even really call it an update, but yeah, it's just the devs telling that, you know, the development's proceeding smoothly. And it's totally, absolutely happening. And that wasn't just a fever dream, eh? How's it going, Go Green? How's your New Year's? Everyone start the New Year's with some comfy Sunday time. That's a good way to do it. And that's a good way to do it. Yeah, right. I'm gonna wash the grinder. Colina the grinder. You. So yeah, for the New Year's, the plans for now, for the first week is gonna be quite a lot of days off though, because we're just starting the celebrations here. So yeah, gonna be off tomorrow. Gonna be off a day after tomorrow, most likely, not sure. It's either that or Wednesday. And gonna be off Saturday. That for now is the plan. That should cover all the relatives and everything to meet with and friends. But there might be some more even, so we'll see. This week is gonna be, well, next week is gonna be quiet. It's gonna be quiet, but yeah, after that I'm gonna be probably back into the grind. Chances are high we're gonna get the fun quiet hiding game going again in January. In the second half of January. Cool to try to avoid getting mobilized to the front lines, you know, so that we're gonna probably get again. So I'm gonna be just chilling and streaming for the most of the January probably. And probably most of February. Then we'll see how ballsy they will feel, maybe even March. Camera doesn't know what to focus, yeah. It's trying to decide, it's trying to decide. It's trying to decide. Do this. Just stop. Stop. Alright. Yes, you see, that's pretty much the same. Before 2 a.m. Indeed. The way it should be. The way it should be. Fuck. What is this? Stop. Because they're not fitting. The fridge and the fridge problems. And with all the stuff that was cooked and everything. Alright. Okay. Fine, let's wait for this. Let's open something good to read. Let's see what we have to read today. There is not the news, because news is gonna be after this. There is gonna be some interesting articles. Let's see. Was there the best of 22 Steam page? We should, yeah. I mean, there's like not a lot of news, so sure, absolutely. We can absolutely do it. Alright, let's see. Let's get this one, sure. Fine. Get the coffee finalized then. So yeah, we can check that stuff. We can check all that stuff. And some more, because yeah, there is like not a lot of stuff going on in terms of news. Yeah, the holiday fee, like the week of holidays pretty much for people, so there is not a lot of news going on. Yeah, probably after like next week and everything, we'll start getting some stuff. In terms of news, they might also be coming all the showcases, right? From apparently both Xbox and a PlayStation seemingly soon, so some random drops of those. We'll see. We'll see about that. According to rumors and everything, at least. Yeah, we might. This is USA. Yeah, there is not much at all. Not much at all. Alright, why are you not closing properly? This shit interrupting. No, now it's fine. Interesting. Weird. Go. Here we go, And there we go. I need to probably recharge the batteries in this one soon. This one actually handles batteries way better compared to the previous one. And this one so far actually can handle them for a while. And last one I was recharging like every a month or so, I guess. And this one I haven't recharged since I bought it. I bought it and plugged the batteries in. I think since then I haven't. Pretty good, eh? Alright, milk done. Come here. Let's go. Good enough. Good enough. Alright. Tomorrow probably gonna go for some Giga walk or something. That would be nice. A long ass walk, before friends arrive. At least everything's clean for New Year's. Just need to do dishes a little bit here and there. And I'm free to go. Yeah, I need to also publish all the VODs on YouTube. I can, with all the New Year preparations missed a few days. I think they're already there uploaded. I just need to title them and everything and publish them. Yeah, also gonna publish probably the VODs of my the old as fuck co-op stream with Della with Far Cry. Because I actually did have that saved on Twitch, thankfully. So now it's uploaded on YouTube too. And that's some archive there. And the archive footage, dude. There's like 3 streams there. Obviously something to watch while I'm not around with all the holidays. Ooh, right, on top of the regular VODs still. And there is also Sinking City, I think, VODs. I think those are also ready to publish. So I'm gonna be tomorrow morning dropping a whole bunch of the VOD stuff on YouTube. Ooh, right, there we go. No. No sliding. There we go. And done. It's gonna be very old school stuff. That was like, what? On release of Far Cry 5, I think. So like, was it like May or something of 2018? It's been a while. It's been a while. Ooh, right, there we go. There we go. Get some snuck, maybe. Oh, maybe. There we go. Ooh, right, let's see. Madden 93 and Immersive Sim Origins. The Secret History of Ultima Underworld. Ultima Underworld creative director Paul Neurath returns 30 years later to talk about the progenitor of the immersive sim genre. I'll see. 30 years after the launch of Ultima Underworld, one of the most ambitious 3D games of its era, its original creative director somehow still hungers to do for modern video games what his classic immersive sim did for games of the 90s. The other reason I'm still doing this today is I see creative opportunities to innovate. Longtime designer and programmer Paul Neurath says from his home in Massachusetts. The industry is still immature. The industry veteran doesn't come this conclusion lightly, having programmed and developed games since the mid-80s. But after a fumble with the 2018 launch of Underworld Ascendant, Neurath is taking the anniversary-timed opportunity to reflect on the original Ultima Underworld and to tell its stories to recalibrate his current game-making compass. Hello, us. Even that is old as fuck now, yeah, exactly. What is this? Like some turtle. What is this? Scratching this one. Let's see. Unlucky. A little bit. All right. Well, let's see then. I tried to do something in 2018. Underworld Ascendant. It was. Ultima Underworld heralded a new wave of first-person action gaming, even if its impact took years to bear out in a larger market. Never achieved the widespread fame of controversial shooters like Doom and Wolfenstein. Team Underworld eventually racked up over 500,000 units in sales, which Newret says came well after the game's first 90 days on store shelves. That was a genuine surprise. Its robust 3D tech has combined with an adventure however you want mindset, eventually inspired the likes of Thief, Dark Age, System Shock, two series that Newret contributed overall creative direction to. And knows where his game impressive tech, complete with first-of-its-kind 3D texture mapping, lands in the PC gaming timeline. Wolfenstein 3D came out a few months after Ultima Underworld, so it kind of, in some sense, beat id Software to the punch. Not that that matters at all. Damn, son. They were faster than Wolfenstein then, even. And he means it. This many years later, the concepts behind Ultima Underworld matter more to him than the texture mapping advancements. His college experience had little to do with his selected major of environmental science. Instead, he says he focused on running Dungeons & Dragons sessions with friends. Last while recounting a session where he told his players that he'd been tasked with defending a village under siege. Players decided the best way to deal with the bandits was to just burn down the whole village. That would scare the bandits away, technically. He added programming to his college course load on a lark, only to get hooked. Describes his course final project as a 3D real-time first-person multiplayer space combat game. Built from scratch on a deck PDP-10. Had to use our imagination, but the gameplay was like, wow. Maybe a computer is another way to create worlds as opposed to pen and paper. That was an eye-opener for me. The years that followed, Newret called the publisher of Wizardry to strike a deal for his first Apple II game, followed by a freelance work on games like Chuck Yeager's Flight Trainer, and nearly a platinum-selling title. His most formative break came when he looked at the box of a recent RPG he loved, Ultima 2, and realized the address was roughly 40 miles from his home. That distance soon became his regular working commute. One day he drove to Origin Studios, knocked on its doors without an invite, and struck up conversations with founding staffers like Richard and Robert Garriott and Chuck Bueche. In short order, they said, we have a lot of extra office space. If you just want to have an office and work out of it, Newret says that this kicked off a period he describes as his graduate school, as he was put to work on a small role in Ultima 3 and 4. And did some AI programming work on Ogre, a port of Steve Jackson board game. The AIs were nothing special by today's standards, but they were good enough to beat Steven Jackson 9 times out of 10. Does you wonder what looks dank? I see. Well, I mean, that's some old stuff there. Like these stories always, like, you know. Well, I just, like, went there, you know, knocked on their door, and boom, I'm working there. Or, like, I played with some dudes, like, not World of Warcraft, but the EverQuest, right? And then they called me to join them to make World of Warcraft or something like this. Like, bro. How to make that happen to you, dude? Huh? And what's the secret? It's always so simple in these stories, huh? And just knock on the door and say, I like your games, and get accepted. Huh? I guess those are different times, though. Back then. Hey, no, hello. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year. How are you doing? Alright. No, he would love the Ultimate series before getting off his space at Origin. I knew that absorbed even more when rubbing elbows with its creators. How to create worlds that were living on their own, full of NPCs living their own lives, and how to manage moral and ethical choices where there was no clear right or wrong. Yet when the Garretts spearheaded a major company shift from NH back to their home state of Texas, Nuret didn't follow, even after being offered a full-time role as the director of development, which he turned down due to family ties in the greater Boston area. Yet he was also burned out on the 3-year grind he spent completing 1989's Space Rogue, which he attributes in part to the company's move away from NH, leaving him to make the game virtually on my own, he says. On the programming level, Nuret rewrote the OS from scratch to recover more precious memory so that the Space Rogue could run at all. He wrote DOS from scratch, huh? Alright. Surmounting this challenge was but one reason he found himself working 60-hour weeks on a regular basis. And again, we go back to increasing of the development costs, right? And one guy with 3-year grind, who needed to fucking rewrite the operational system to make it run more optimally. That sounds like the development cost, man. That sounds like development costs right there. Yes, I see. Huh? But maybe you should, maybe I should, eh? The only way to make the Dungeons & Dragon-like game of his dreams where players would be empowered to make unexpected choices, all while sporting first-person tech beyond Wizardry's slow turn-based line drawing system. In his home state, he figured was to start his own studio, build a team, and create his own IP. At programming level, Nuret confirms that the texture map 3D core of Ultima Underworld came partially from graphics engineer Chris Green, as well as several other Ultima Underworld team members, who he met while working on the Chuck Yeager's Flight Trainer series. The rest of Nuret's newly hired team at the Blue Sky Studios, which eventually renamed to Looking Glass Studios, one and only, build gameplay systems and other important technical upgrades on top of that code base. Now, the prototype up and running within 3 months of the team getting to work. Within a year, that studio pitch of a fully 3D action RPG with major player choice ramifications, an impressive proof of concept demo that ran on the era's 386 powered PCs, was rejected by nearly every potential publisher. There was no market for this, Nuret recalls hearing a lot in the spring of 1990, even from PC-friendly publishers he would work with like EA. Oh yeah, well, I mean, maybe PC-friendly, but totally not very friendly. Once again, EA, even 30 years ago, with amazing reading of the market. No one plays these games, bro. Who needs that shit? This genre is dead. Or this genre won't even be alive. Classic. Some things never change. Some things never change. Yeah, Nubis, hello. No, you do actually? Nice. That sounds good, huh? Once again, Nuret found himself cold calling the team at Origin, now headquartered in Austin, Texas, to see if they would bite. There could be some cool potential here, Nuret recalls them saying, but we think it should use the Ultima brand. We'd be cool with that. This was the summer of 1990. I don't think I ever said this to Richard and Robert Garrett, but the only hesitation I had was that our vision was to make a completely original game, and Nuret now admits. And he knew, having seen Ultima game development up close, that Origin might spend a lot of time vetting his game to fit the Ultima sensibility. But Nura took the offer back to his new studio to decide as a team, and they agreed. And Ultima already inspired the kind of game they wanted to make, and it would commercially benefit from Ultima's branding and fandom. Sounds good, eh? Sounds about right. ATB Chan, hello. How's it going, Anubis? How are you, TB Chan? Happy New Year, guys. Ultima Underworld almost didn't happen. That is until that very branding was nearly taken away. There was a scenario where Origin would have walked away from the game. Roughly 1 year into development, Origin became unsure about the game's focus on action. They weren't happy with the narrative, which Newrath originally led. It needed work for sure, and I wasn't a great writer by any stretch, mediocre at best. On a performance level, Newrath is blunt. The frame rate sucked. The game's pre-alpha version could reach 15 frames per second performance on a commercial 386 PC on a good day, but more typically run lower than 10 FPS. Ooh, damn, the quality gaming back in the day. And the adventure how you want aspect of the gameplay still wasn't a Gillen. These immersive sims tend to come together late, Nura says, pointing to similar development issues in series like Thief and Deus Ex. Newrath was in over his head, and he was leading a brand new game studio made up largely of fresh college graduates, including one engineer, Doug George, who was still finishing a degree at MIT, and trying to convince the publisher that they could get an ambitious yet undercooked game over the finish line without tarnishing arguably the biggest Western RPG brand in the PC gaming space. He had to buy time, so he did, almost literally. Frankly, we convinced Origin by saying we'd cover the remainder of the development cost effectively. While building Ultima Underworld, his team was simultaneously juggling a port of Electronic Arts' upstart Madden NFL 93 to the Sega Genesis, complete with upfront cash and royalty arrangement. That project was going well, and sports gaming appetites on the Genesis were exploding. Nura did the math, then made what he admits was less than a sure bet. He'd fund the remaining lion's share of Ultima Underworld's development out of his own pocket. Origin agreed. I mean, free money, free project. Look, part of being an entrepreneur is being kind of crazy, Nura says. Warren Spector and I have talked about this a lot over the years. That when you make these innovative games, you have to accept the risks. Can be foolish, right? You can crash and burn, but you have to be willing to take that risk or you won't innovate. Enter Warren Spector. Newrath had met Spector, then a little-known story designer and writer, while working on Space Rogue. And during the aforementioned Ultima Underworld turmoil, he asked Spector to come on board as a producer and replace 2 other producers who'd left the project. With a shared mindset in terms of gameplay and games we liked, he really gelled, I think. Gelled with our team, makes that word. Newrath suggests that Spector's involvement may have made an even bigger impact on the game's eventual release than its revised financial plan. He more effectively communicated the team's vision to Origin, particularly the pessimistic sales and marketing groups. Spector also helped overhaul the narrative beyond its original skeleton, which freed Newrath to focus on level design for the game's first 2 levels out of 8. I did that because pretty much the rest of the team had never made a commercial game before. Newrath admits, though he makes clear that Spector and the rest of the team chipped in on other major design decisions. Newrath concedes that his team's juggle of Ultima Underworld and Madden 93, which financially paid off, took its toll, particularly in the form of 80 hours work weeks for the staff. I had my hands full and I made a lot of mistakes, and it's fine, that's what entrepreneurs do. He still regrets that the game adopted D&D-styled stats for characters like strength, dexterity, and intelligence, which he conceded to play nicely with the Ultima brand. The original vision revolved around the player's choices, impacting how well an action played out, instead of points on a page. Run and charge to make an attack more powerful instead of relying on extra points on a spreadsheet, as an example. Tells fans to look at how creation and development system worked in 1994 game System Shock. That's really what we wanted to do with Ultima Underworld. Well, he's proud of the technology behind Ultima Underworld, and how his team built a number of never-before-seen gameplay mechanics into the engine. He laughs at how his team managed UI and player movement. Before Wolfenstein and Doom, mouse look wasn't a thing. To be honest, even there it was like barely being introduced, really. Members of Ultima Underworld team tried to wrap their head around first-person movement by holding camcorders at eye level, walking around and reviewing the VHS footage, which helped them understand and implement the concept of virtual head bobbing. But the game's original movement system, which revolves around an on-screen cursor that alternates between inventory management and head movement, paled compared to what id Software and others delivered shortly after. I was like, duh. It says about seeing competitors' games and then smacks his forehead, eh? The head bobbing, though, yeah. Well, now at least you see where it comes from. So they had like the camcorders on like the head level and recording. I guess those camcorders also had like pretty bad, visual stabilization and stuff too back in the day. So the footage was indeed with a lot of bobbing, probably. It's not like you walk like this all the time, right? I mean, there is some, but I think it's kind of getting compensated when you walk. When you walk, your brain kind of compensates for that a bit. And inside, Nura still believes that the game's development staff of mostly fresh college graduates paid off for a huge reason. New hires don't have a sense of what they cannot do. He points to an exception on the Ultima Underworld team who would interject and exclaim, "You can't do that, that's not how games are done." Nura says he couldn't solve that for that person. Instead, he relished putting problems in front of fresh talent. Throw the challenge down and see what happens. He admits this led to a few frayed edges in level design that, according to fans he's spoken to, people love to this day. Ultima Underworld's impact on the game industry was immediately evident in the games that Spectre later made in the 90s, many of which Nuret worked on as a producer or other high-up role. And he lists modern games like Weird West Deathloop and the upcoming Bioshock follow-up, Judas, that continue carrying the torch of player-made decisions that are either unexpected or widely branch a game narrative. I feel so cool, Nura says, to recognize Ultima Underworld's imprint in his favorite modern games. Yet he believes that most games, including 2018's Nuret-led Underworld Ascendant, only go so far to push beyond the industry status quo, even within the realm of ambitious immersive sim adventures. Nuret likens the current state of gaming to the 1930s period of filmmaking. We've gotten to talkies, but there is not yet color, that's what it feels like. While he admits that real-time 3D graphics rendering is advancing at an incredible rate, he doesn't feel the same about game design and mechanics. Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, rewriting DOS, rewriting the operational system just to make it run better, just to make your game run better. The optimizations, man. No one goes that far for that nowadays. But I mean, it also means, 80 hours work weeks. That doesn't sound very good. That sounds like double the norm, That's a bit too much. That's a bit too much. Even though I guess if it's like something you do, you're very excited to do, I could see that happening, really. The problem starts when it's, the team of people, and you kind of make people do that. Maybe without them wanting to commit that much. That's already a different story. Gamers may not realize it, but they hunger for that innovation. His current plan at Other Side Entertainment, his latest game studio, is to move the innovative sim genre into a direction that he vaguely calls player-powered. A second. Here we go. His studio's current design litmus test is to get testers to say, "I didn't know you could do that," upon completing a level or puzzle, all because the game's design revolved around letting players control the way they solve challenges. The Other Side is also pledging to deliver Ultima Underworld-inspired immersive sim gameplay in the multiplayer space, though at this point Nuret has zero details to share on that front. No gameplay or impressions are yet available for the studio's pair of games with apparent multiplayer modes built in. Thick as Thieves, multiplayer heist game, and Argus Riders on the Storm, a Warren Spector-led game that revolves around a deeply simulated outdoor environment. Oh, so it's Warren Spector on board there too. Alright. Interesting. Interesting. That may include a significant butterfly effect aspect to how the world reacts to players' choices. Oh, damn, clapping kills Badman. Well, I mean, the times are something, so And they mostly probably were from here too, right? So I guess it's a little bit complicated now to develop and everything, when potentially they needed to run away from the country or something. And maybe we'll get some post, some update, just later. Maybe one day Neurath-led a game will resemble or surpass the Dungeon Dragon sessions he held in college, allowing connected friends to invent and execute bizarre solutions to adventurous challenges. It's a very different dynamic compared to his history in single-player game development, he admits. Keeps me engaged to work with awesome teams, having a vision of where he will take this. And at least trying. I don't know if we're succeeding, but we are at least trying. The earlier iterations of this piece incorrectly stated New Hampshire was the new current homestay. Right, so just update there. So they work on stuff with War Inspector. Still too nice. That's good. That might be interesting. Sick as Thieves, a multiplayer heist game. Those are so far, like, there were some, like, cool ones, technically. Or something cool, on paper at least. But they always kind of fail, sorta. Hey Rev, hello. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year to you too. Hello, hello. How you doing? But I mean, that's actually interesting. The Ultima Underworld, huh? Interesting. Interesting. Where War Inspector started his stuff and everything. Might be a good to add to the list at some point. Might be good to add to the list. Gonna be very boomer, but still.